of freelance. They don't work for any particular demon. They're just kind of equal opportunity demons who work for everybody. One of the things that we really loved about them, and this is, once again, we're reinforcing that idea of the different creatures working together, is their family relationships. And the classic family relationship, of course, in the Fallen family is the shaman and the imp, which is not going to play for us, but you've all seen it. The shaman resurrects the imp and throws fireballs. We upgraded their look, obviously, but that's where we took as a starting point for this. You know, when you run in, the first thing, of course, you want to do is head straight for the shaman, or he's just going to keep, you know, resurrecting all the imps that you kill. So the next thing we did was have videos that don't work on any of these. Are they working over there?
They're working on the screen.
I don't know what to do about that. Well, we'll just continue forward. So we made the Fallen Overseer. He's basically a bigger version of the imp. He's stronger, but he has a battle cry. And what's interesting about this is when he appears with a group of fallen imps, he makes them braver. If you recall in Diablo 2, the imps had a tendency to run away in fear when you killed one of them. When the Overseer shouts his battle cry, they get braver and they get tougher. They have less of a tendency to run away, and they're a little bit more difficult to kill. The Fallen Overseer himself is actually a little bit tough. He has this big wind-up and hit that does a lot of damage. So this was one new relationship, and I'm going to be really upset if this one doesn't play. I am going to cry now, because the Fallen Lunatic is awesome. He is the black sheep of the family, if you can imagine such a thing for demons. He's a living bomb. He runs at you and stabs himself in the stomach until he explodes. And if that sounds cool, you can imagine how it looks. I'm sure we'll put this up somewhere where you guys can see it. I apologize. But so anyways, it's really funny until you're surrounded by a group of fallen and low on health, and this guy comes running in and stabs himself and explodes and kills you. Over to the Dune Thresher.
All right, so we've shown you a lot of monsters that we think have turned out really well, and now I'm going to talk about one that we like but think could really be better, and we consider to be a work in progress. So we call him the Dune Thresher, internal name Sand Shark. Those of you who've seen the movie Tremors probably get the idea of this monster, or at least our original idea for him, which was, you know, that if you haven't seen the movie, it's really cool. It's a horror movie where there's these bunch of crazy carnivorous giant worms that live under the desert, and if you stand on sand, they eat you, and if you stand on rock, they can't get to you. So we really liked this idea because we liked the notion that the desert sand would feel really dangerous to the player and not just something they just want to, you know, run willy-nilly out onto. So, but this guy was really kind of a prime example of the difficulty of a more complex idea in a game like Diablo. And we'll show you kind of what our desired result was. So, as I mentioned, we wanted to get this feeling that the sand wasn't safe. We wanted to have the Dune Thresher submerge only when he was on sand. If he was on any other surface like road or rock, he could not submerge and couldn't burrow under it. So when he's submerged, he would be completely invulnerable, but when he's above ground, that's when he's actually able to be attacked and you can hurt him. So, and then we were going to let him actually attack you from under the sand, which means he could attack you at a point when you couldn't hurt him, which again would make him, the idea was to really get the player to play more tactically so that when they ran into this guy, they have to move over to kind of a rock outcrop or a road to try and get him to surface so they can attack him. So the actual result, which I'm going to guess won't play, there you go. At least it's predictable in its inconsistency. So players confused whenever the Dune Thresher was submerged, they just didn't see him. He had this cool fin that would stick out of the ground, but with all the effects and demons and all that crazy stuff going on, you just couldn't see it. So we tried to play up his attack when he was underground, but it just looked kind of silly. We had him diving kind of through, and it was very confusing, like, is he above ground now or is he not? And then once players kind of finally did figure out how he worked, they didn't play more tactically, they just ignored him. they were like, oh, well, I can just go to the next screen where there's 100 other monsters and I'll kill them instead and just ignore that dude. So it didn't actually work. So we have a fix, which was to make the Dune Thresher more of a hunter. So again, to play up that idea of a shark. And so the idea was that when he's submerged, he moves really fast, and that this is his way to catch the player. So the Dune Thresher, when he's distant from you, he goes underground and he just starts making a beeline for you. And then he can't attack from underground anymore, but this solves the problem of if players couldn't see him, because now he jumps up above ground, he's totally, vulnerable, and you can attack him back. So it's a pretty cool character. We're pretty happy with him, but he's especially against ranged characters, but we still have never gotten that dream that we originally had of having this character that interacted with the environment. So there's a chance that we'll come back to him. All right, so we've got a couple little bloopers for you. We have a lot of stuff as we go through development that kind of goes wrong and haywire, and we thought it'd be fun to show you a couple of those. This actually wasn't. This was for internal. When we showed, first time we showed these characters off to the company, we just wanted to make them laugh. So this is one of the quests. Varna has been poisoned. She's not doing very well. She's supposed to stop now, but she didn't. Even when she died, she didn't. Yeah, it wasn't good. Something wrong with her. We're not quite sure what this is. But we do recommend you stay away from it. So that brings us to the end of our presentation, and I think we have some time for some Q&A. Thank you.
All right. We don't have a lot of time for questions, so I just want to remind everybody that we have an hour-long Diablo 3 Q&A tomorrow at 11:30. But we have some time for questions. The first question.
I'm really excited about, there's an echo. Is this going to come out before CLISM?
We don't discuss release dates ever. When it's done.
Does it feel like it's going to come out?
We don't discuss release dates ever. When it's done.
Next question.
Hi, I'm an avid player of Diablo 2, and one of my favorite classes was the Amazon. I'm just wondering if there was any chance that you guys be looking back at like the Amazon class or like the Rogue from Diablo 1.
Well, we certainly look at all kind of the previous classes when considering the next ones, but we're going to have to keep that one a secret until next year. Sorry.
Next question.
Hi, I was just wondering, you didn't really go over crafted items too well last year, and this year you didn't really discuss it in this specific one, and I was kind of really anxious. Do you have any plans to like extend the Horadric Cube crafting system?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are a couple things that we really liked about the Horadric Cube, and there's a couple things that we didn't like so much. I would say that what I really like is the ability for the control over their ability to take existing items. One of the things that we didn't like so much is the fact that all of the recipes were hidden, required people to go to a website to look things up. So we definitely want to revisit the mechanic of taking existing items. We'll probably do it in a different way.
Next question.
Hey, what's up? Indeed 2, my favorite class is always the Barb. Is there going to be Singer Barbs in this game? Singer Barbs? War shouts?
Like the Crybarians.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of support in the audience for a Crybarian out there?
Yeah!
Yeah, we'll consider it. We don't have anything like that. Well, he does have battle cries right now, and but he doesn't have any offensive battle cries. But I will definitely keep it in mind and consider it.
Next question.
Hey guys, love the game. I was wondering about weapons. If the monk, I was surprised you chose monk because you think of them as being unarmed. Are they going to be able to use swords? And it looks like he has a staff. But what are the plans for customization?
Yeah, when we first designed the monk, actually, we started with no weapons for exactly that reason. We're like, okay, let's look